this is going way better from a technical standpoint than it went last week. And that's because of my community. People helped me to, understand like what I needed to do. Oh, okay.
Don't knock nothing over.
Yeah, people helped me to understand like what I needed to do to make sure that we were in a good space as far as streaming live while recording audio and video. And, I learn every single time, and I feel like I finally got a little groove going here.
Good.
Yeah.
That looks good. I'm looking at it.
It looks good to you? Awesome.
Yeah. It's not frozen. It's not lagging.
Very good. There were a lot of steps to getting to a place where it looks like this and where it's professional in the way that I want it to be. So I'm very happy about that. And I'm very proud of us. This is our 26th episode. And for those who are new, Elevate the Conversation is a podcast with a married couple. Though we don't do couples content.
No.
We talk about our lives, but we don't do couples content.
Corny.
Yeah. It's not that it's
It's corny.
Is it corny? Is couples content corny?
Yeah, because no one couple is the same. So us sitting up telling people how we make our shit work, it doesn't make sense. Like, I've never been the type. Don't get me wrong. Like, this is why it's a couple people I could name that I like, because their stuff is not based around like the facade of what a relationship is supposed to be. It's based around the reality. It's like Kevin Fredericks and his wife.
Yes.
Kev on stage. I like them. And honestly, all the couples around them, because it's not, oh, this is what you need to do to have a successful marriage. It's no, I'm a man, she's a woman. We came together all these years ago. We're making this shit work. We have kids. We have a life. We're building this business. And it's very real. And honestly, they have their own separate, like, she has her own thing.
Yeah, I realize his wife has a really great podcast.
Yeah,
and
she's very, very well spoken. Like, and that's what I like. Like, it's, yes, people, I'm saying that that's what we are aspiring. Like, if I wanted to do anything, it would be that. We come together and we, have meaningful conversation for people to enjoy and interact with. But it's not about us telling other people how to. Yeah,
because we have no idea. No. We're really just trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing with couples content is like, it's like, yeah, this is what you do. And it's like, that's not going to work. People have different trauma they've gone through. People have different experiences of life. They have different perspectives. It's hard to say. There's no one size fits all for couples. So we don't really do couples content. But what we do, what we do is talk about society and culture. We talk about Black women. We talk about Black people. We talk about music. We talk about the music industry. We talk about business. We talk about being a creative. We talk about mental health. We talk about wellness, a holistic approach to life, mind, body, spirit.
Facts.
We talk about Beyonce a lot.
Yeah.
Because we love her.
I mean, the purpose of this conversation, of this podcast, is for us to, we live in real life. We see the same stuff y'all see. We, deal with the same type of things, and honestly, probably a lot more. But it's for us to take things that happen and elevate the conversation around it.
Yes, because I think everybody gets, the reason why I said elevate is because I think people get stuck on the person or the people that it's about.
Or just how they would,
they would operate. But it's like, the thing about it is like, I think gossip, there's a really good video I want to share with you about the difference between like gossip and all this different stuff. But anyways, I think gossip content is like, oh, pay attention to what happened or what this person did because they're a celebrity, right? And elevate the conversation is, okay, let's look past the person or the celebrity and let's look at how this issue or this thing affects us all or doesn't, or what are our thoughts about it. But one thing we don't get up on here and talk about is things we don't know about.
Facts.
So
that's harmful in the podcast community.
Oh my God, this Tasha K thing with Will Smith and the whole.
See, I don't even. I mean, I know. Well,
Well, so there was a rumor about Will Smith this past week that's been going on. I'm not going to talk about it here because I think that it's disgusting. I think that it's disgusting to weaponize somebody's sexuality against them.
I do too.
So whether it happened or not, I just think that part of it is disgusting. But this person is actually like, a friend of Will's who worked for him as a bodyguard.
Jada said, "We suing."
We suing, right? So I guess he went to try to. It's basically extortion.
Yeah, he trying to shake
him down for money. They said no, and then after no was said, all of a sudden now he's suing or now he's saying all of these things and he's weaponizing somebody's sexuality. If it didn't happen. So if it didn't happen, he's straight out lying, and that part of it is disgusting. Right. If it did happen, he's weaponizing somebody's personal life and their weaponizing somebody's personal life and what they do behind closed doors and sharing it with the public, and that's crazy. TC, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Greetings. What's up, Cookie? I think my mom said it's frozen, but that
was earlier.
Earlier? Okay, we're good.
Now. Monty got me this cup.
Yes. Thanks, Monty.
Thanks, Monty. She got you one too.
So, yes, I do have a J cup somewhere. But I just feel like in the podcast community, especially because a lot of these people who have podcasts are not actual journalists and don't have any education in sharing news and media with people, it's just a lot of low-hanging fruit and disgusting stuff to get clicks, likes, and engagement. And I did not want to be a part of that, but I did want to enter the chat. I think we've watched that thing before where like the guy stands up, he's like, nah, let me speak. Elevate the conversation is mine, let me speak, because I just got so tired of what I was hearing in the podcast sphere that I was like, ugh. Right. But this is a little early for us because I have a haircut later. I'm wearing a hat because I'm growing my hair, you guys, and I'm going to get cornrows. Chelsea doesn't want that to happen, but she's going to love me anyway. And so this is marriage. This is us. She doesn't want me to do it because she thinks that it is too young and I'm old. Okay, why don't you want me to get cornrows?
Honey, do whatever you want to do.
No, but why don't you like it?
Do whatever you want to do.
I want to know why you don't like it.
I told you
already. For the people.
No,
what did you say?
It ain't for the people.
What did you say?
It's too young.
You
ain't even had to tell them that I didn't like it.
It's too young.
See, you talking too much.
It's young. It's too young.
I don't know many 40-year-olds with cornrows.
This is y'all in the comments. This is crazy. I'm fighting for my marriage on Facebook Live. Okay, honey, I get that.
But do what you want to do.
I think I'm gonna look good.
I mean, you're a good-looking person, honey. So of course it's gonna look good.
My wife said I'm good-looking, y'all.
But I'm just saying. But do what you want to do. I like the fro. The mini fro, the little curly fro with the fade, you know.
Yeah, I understand.
I like that. But what? Let's see what your mama. I hate cornrows.
Mom, do not see y'all. I'm fighting for my life. Mom, why are you? Don't say that, Mom.
Well.
All right.
The queen has spoken.
But them cornrows gonna be gotten, y'all. So anyway, I'm growing my hair out, you guys. And my wife and my mom now have spoken out against it. And so please stand with me.
Oh, gosh. Do whatever you want to do.
All right. With that said, my name is Joy Daniels. I'm your host with the most.
And I'm Chelsea Daniels.
And this is Elevate the Conversation. I really like what you. I don't like the key that I'm singing this in, but okay.
That's
always the problem with me is the key that I sing it in.
Well,
is that the key? I really like
what you.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So that was the key.
I'm like, that's the key.
Well, I liked a lot of things this week. Well, a couple things. I think we liked some things collectively. And let me just say this. Andre 3000, just like Rihanna, just like, D'Angelo and Lauryn Hill, have given us so much. They have contributed to society. Andre 3000 and Outkast, I think, did like 4 albums or 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
And they gave us some great music. Andre 3000 is top 5 rappers of all time. I don't care what nobody says. Having said that, he came and he said to us, I ain't doing no rap album because I'm 50 and I don't have nothing to rap about. I'm too old for that. So I'm going to give y'all an ambient jazz music flute album.
So he was singing?
No singing. It's instrumental.
So it's elevator music.
I wouldn't say elevator. It's like edgy. It's like you wouldn't hear it in an elevator because it would be like, what the fuck? What's going on? It's like,
so it's like
background music. It's like ambient music. They call it ambient is like the genre.
Like before a wedding? Like at
no,
the dinner?
It's not that.
Oh.
No, it's like you have, it's like, it's easy listening, but it's like meditation music. You would hear this at a yoga studio.
Yoga? Okay.
Yes. High vibrational yoga meditation type music. And I was feeling it. It did something to me. It healed. You fell asleep to it. You don't remember, but you fell asleep to it.
Because of the gummy.
Oop. Moving on, y'all. Elevate the conversation does not support.
They didn't listen.
No, we know. Listen, I take CBD gummies.
If I had it my way, we'd be up. I have them every single time.
No, I know. Well, we have
great conversation when I'm on.
I know. We have to move to Los Angeles for that. Because in Wisconsin, as the news lady told us, it is still illegal.
Although it is legal.
Yeah, they wanted us to know. No, so it's like meditation, yoga, fun type of music. And it's I mean, it was high vibrational to me. It was actually healing. Like I listened to it and I was like, oh, I feel a healing spirit. So you'll listen, but so people are a little upset that he's not rapping, as you can understand, because he's top 5 rappers of all time. And I've heard nothing but good things. Everybody's like, wow, this is such a good album. And honestly, like, I think it's okay for people to evolve and to change. And unfortunately, people don't like that. People don't want change and for you to evolve. But I think it's okay for him to evolve. Like, this man has given us timeless hits. They're still playing Hey Ya somewhere at a wedding, at an event.
International Players Anthem.
I walked down the aisle to International Players Anthem. People, like, their music is...
Some of their stuff kind of timeless, to be honest.
It's timeless. It transcends time, age. Yeah. I mean, Outkast is amazing. So, and Andre 3000 is amazing. And so I think that when people give us like that, we should allow them to do whatever it is they want to do.
I think all the real fans, because down my timeline, I saw a lot of like fans who felt the same way you felt. It's the people that's not really fans who just listen to the music.
Yeah, I get that. Someone on my timeline suggested that he's no longer top 5, and that hurt my feelings. Yeah, because
it's disrespectful though. When you can't take, like, in my opinion, once somebody solidifies GOAT status, top 5 status, that shit don't go away.
I know that's right.
Like, it don't go away.
Honey, speak the facts, because you can't erase the work him and Big Boy have done. Yeah, like, you just can't erase the work.
What it takes to get there, like, once you hit that mark, you stamp.
And people also, you know, I think that there's a thought that, like, how can I articulate this? Like, I think that people think that doing music is easy.
Right.
And that's because everybody has a mic and everybody has a computer now, and people can actually produce music on their iPhones and buy beats for $2. Everybody thinks that, oh, it's just easy. But like, when I listen to high quality music, I know what it takes.
Right.
And
even just being a part of the process.
And to do that, to do it over and over again, like they did for a span of 15 years, I don't know what more we can ask. Like, once people give it to you, you know what it's equivalent to? It's like, as a married couple, if I buy you a $50 million home, you know that new home that Jay-Z and them got? It's like, I don't know how many square feet. It's like a crazy amount of like square feet. Like, you could fit 15 or 20 apartments in it. If I bought that for you, blood, sweat, and tears, it took me 10 years and I bought it for you. And 10 years later, you go, you haven't bought me anything in 10 years. I'm going to look at you and be like, do you not see this amazing mansion? Right. So I said all that to say, Andre 3000, I'm feeling it. And it's going to actually be my like gym music. Do you need to go get a tissue? Go ahead, honey. while Chelsea gets a tissue, the other thing that we really, really liked, and when she comes back, she will join in on this, is Loki. I don't know how many Marvel fans are on the live today, but there was an emotional thing that happened to me watching Loki. I don't know if y'all chime in the comments and let me know if you watched Loki, but I really felt an emotional pull and tug that I have not had in years of the Marvel, the Marvel universe. When Endgame came and we all got that big sigh of relief and it was so amazing, I think I cried in the theater when I saw Endgame. Yes, I'm the type of person who cries at movies. When I saw Endgame in the theater, what year was Endgame, honey? Was it 2018? You didn't get into it later. Somebody in the comments let me know what year Endgame was. 17 or 18. Somebody Google that for me.
I'll Google it.
Somebody Google that for me and let me know. Hey, y'all in the comments on Twitch. I'm sorry. Somebody said music and sports are the best social elevators, and that's facts. That's
2019.
Okay, so 2019, y'all. Marvel does the Endgame, and basically the Endgame is a culmination of 10 years of movies, right? And for me, watching Endgame, I felt the visceral, emotional connection to just the Marvel universe. They did amazing things with Black Panther. I mean, we can go on and on and on. And the ending of Endgame also affected me, like emotionally, right, with Mr. Stark, Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Okay. Iron Man. So Loki is the first time, because this next phase, I don't know what phase it is. Y'all don't jump on me in the comments because I don't know.
They calling it the multiverse, some shit.
Okay, so this phase of Marvel, I feel like it's been a little, and here's why I think it has, because you have to rebuild the world now. Yeah. Like you have to literally rebuild. People are switching in and out, different cast members. You're adding new cast members. Like there's all these things happening in the midst of how the world is going. There was just a SAG-AFTRA strike. Like there's so many things going on. There was the pandemic.
So right after the Endgame, there was 2020, and that in itself, I mean, we saw the Marvel suffer. That's why they came out with the series. That's why they started releasing the series.
Yes, exactly.
So then they went on Disney Plus to do big movies right after.
Right. So Disney Plus comes into play, and I really feel like
the series is
WandaVision. Hold on, let me speak. WandaVision was probably one of the best series I've ever seen in my life, like literally in my adult life. So we had WandaVision, which I thought stood out. And then after that, I think Black Panther 2 definitely did something to me because I just love Chadwick. I love the character. Shang-Chi was really good.
It was really good.
But I haven't really...
Spider-Man was good.
Spider-Man was really good. Yeah. But I haven't really felt what I felt since Endgame until Loki came. When Loki came, I was like, wow. All I'm gonna say, y'all, is I really like Loki. If you are a Marvel fan, and I think even if you're not a Marvel fan, you might be able to get into it. You're gonna have to catch up a little bit, but it's like, I just love it. And I love the character development. Season 1 was great. Season 2 is amazing.
Well, if you have Disney Plus and you have spare time, they have the movies. I wish they had that when we started watching them in order.
They didn't really have it. Yeah, we had to buy it.
In the timeline order. So on Disney Plus, you can watch all the movies in the timeline order of which the storyline plays out. And that's how me and Joy, we looked it up. But I remember when me and Joy first started dating, Joy was watching Captain America Civil War, and I seen Iron Man and Captain America fighting, and I'm like, why are they fighting? So I'm watching it in the background because I really hadn't watched like any of the Avengers movies or anything like that. But then I'm like, you know what? I think you said to me, like, we should watch these from the beginning together. Why can you only see me?
I'm working on something right now. Keep talking.
I said, I think you came to me and said, let's watch these together. So I was like, okay, like I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? So I did it. And we started with Captain America, First Avenger. And what's crazy is Captain Marvel came out right before Endgame, but in timeline order, Captain Marvel is the next movie after Captain America.
But it came out at the end of everything.
Right.
And I enjoyed the storyline. So that brings us to, we really liked the Marvels. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the Marvels. Oh, I didn't say my piece about Loki. But
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, that's what I was just saying, that up until I always was so intrigued and so into everything that was happening with the MCU. And then Endgame came and it's like, okay, damn. We started to see what they were doing with the series. And Loki, that second season, I have the same sentiment. Like it felt very much like the problem solving, puzzle solving type of stuff that we went through in the first 10 years. Especially for me to be such a fresh Marvel fan, like we binge watched in we started that in the pandemic. I want to say 2020 because it was 2019. Because you were going to see Endgame.
Yes.
So you was watching everything. And then it was 2019 Thanksgiving that we was sitting in New Orleans with your dad watching.
And he was like, I got to see the end.
Yeah. So at that point, I want to say we watched about 5 movies during that Thanksgiving. Black Panther was one of them. We watched because Black Panther is getting towards the end too.
Yes.
So we got all the way to Infinity War. And then did I go see Endgame with you?
You didn't. Movie theater? No, you didn't. We were long distance.
We weren't living together yet.
No, I called you on the phone and was like, I'm going to see it today.
We couldn't have been long distance, honey, because if it came out in 2019, I moved.
Was it 2019?
Yeah.
Oh, so you were with me.
I moved.
So I don't know what was going on. You weren't around though. I went to go see it by myself.
So I think you saw it, and that's what made me watch it from the beginning.
And then we went and bought a TV. We were walking around Walmart, and we were moving into our first apartment to get, our first apartment that was not a roommate situation. And we were walking around.
Yes.
And we bought a TV, with a big TV, and I looked at you and I was like, we need to do all the Marvel. Now we have this nice big TV. We need to do all the Marvel.
And
you were
by
like,
the
okay.
time we watched Endgame, it was on, we were able to stream it.
We were able to stream it.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I think we finished by the time it was like top of 2020. It was right before, I want to say right at the beginning of the year, because we went, so I'm thinking timeline. We went to Thanksgiving. Yeah. We went to the cruise.
Yes.
That's all that happened in that same year. You had already seen Endgame, so you was already done. We started over because of me.
Yes, we started over because you were like, okay. And then Disney Plus came out, and that made it easier for us to kind of like do all the binging.
Because of 2020.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, since then, I haven't felt the feelings I felt or been moved the way I was moved with any Marvel stuff. Loki was amazing. So that takes us to the Marvels. The Marvels was great. And unfortunately, there has been a SAG-AFTRA strike going on. And so the promotion of the movie was not the same as everything else. And I think I originally thought, it's because they don't want to see 3 women and 2 women of color in a movie. But I don't think that was it. I just think it was poorly promoted.
It was poorly promoted.
And
unfortunately, with 3 women leads, you need to promote that.
We could have got the girl power, because I saw dudes in the comments like, I definitely would have took my daughters to go see this, and I feel that. Like, I at first was like, so y'all just don't want to see.
My commentary was more towards the.
You know what? Hold on, honey. Somebody in the comments on Twitch said, Guion said, maybe Loki was released too late, and you know what? That's such a good point, because I feel like we've been waiting for good content from Marvel for you know what I mean? Like, outside of Black Panther, like, I think they thought that Black Panther 2 was going to be so huge that was going to like hold everyone over. But unfortunately, like,
the thing about it was huge, but Chadwick Boseman like passed away in real life. So we had all lived that in real life too. Do you get what I'm saying?
I feel it.
So it'll be different if that was just a storyline, but it was like in real life he actually is gone as well. So everybody who was a Chadwick Boseman fan or a Black Panther fan also mourned his death in real life.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as like, them doing it the way they did it. I thought it was great. But honestly, the best movie that has come out, in my opinion, was Shang-Chi. In my opinion.
Shang-Chi was an incredible movie.
Shang-Chi and that Spider-Man movie. When they put all the 3 Spider-Mans together, that was
Were
good
you
too.
watching Shang-Chi the other day?
Yeah, I watched it the other day.
Remember when that point in the movie where him and his wife are fighting for the first time when they first met each other?
Yes,
and that joint is slowed down and they was looking at each other, but they was beating each other's ass.
The choreography,
oh my God, so good. Yeah, so The Marvels was good, guys. Go out and support it. It's still out. It's directed by a Black woman. It's three women are the leads. I thought it was a great movie. It was hilarious. I appreciated it. Guys, please go see it.
I liked it better than the first Captain Marvel. I liked it better than Captain Marvel because a lot of people pointed out to me that she's actually not that good of an actress, and I had to look at it. I was like, dang, that's actually kind of true. Like, she's just good looking. She's a good looking white woman.
She's
and
very
you know what I'm saying?
looking.
She looked good in her uniform, and she fits.
I get it.
But I get that.
I like her quirkiness. I forgot what her name is.
The other two are better actors than her. The young girl and the Black girl, they are good. I mean,
I feel that.
Yeah.
Either way, we like Loki. We like the Marvels. Go see it.
Yeah.
We're, as you guys can tell, we're obviously Marvel fans.
Yeah. But you have to go. You have to watch Miss Marvel first and WandaVision.
Yeah, you have to watch WandaVision, Miss Marvel, the series on Disney Plus, which is also really good. And I love how Marvel is bringing in these different cultures. So I love. I believe they are. I'm not going to say their nationality because I don't know it.
It's Middle Eastern.
It's Middle Eastern.
Yeah,
so
sure.
it's a Middle Eastern family who is Muslim. They're a Muslim Middle Eastern family. And
very cultural,
very
religious,
cultural, and I love. It's so good, and I'm sure there are people who are watching it that are like, "Yep, that tracks. That's how my family acts." So really awesome, y'all. We love Marvel. So that's what we really liked. What else did you really like this week, honey?
Aubrey Drake. He came out with 6 more songs.
You love you some Aubrey, boy.
For All the Dogs, Scary Hours is what it's called. So For All the Dogs, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. It was okay. I really did like some of the stuff, I guess. But yeah, I'm the type of Drake fan. I like to hear him like just rapping. I like to, cause he actually had he's the caption king. Him and Future are like the caption kings. They come out with so much wordplay that is great for captions. But For All the Dogs was interesting. It was interesting. It was some joints on there. But he came out. He added 6 songs
to the deluxe version.
Scary Hours is what it's called.
Okay.
And those 6 songs, I guess he literally just listened to his OG fans because everybody basically is saying we want to hear you evolve. We want to hear you rap. Stop this singing shit. We get it. Your fans, mostly white fans. He got a lot of, I told you, I went to that concert. All white kids. Wow. Okay? Yeah, that's his fan base. And that's why he keep doing what he doing. Because his kids are his fans. Kids are who's making him rich. Yes, literally. Okay, so I get it. But he really did that for those who are, OG Drake fans. I was pleased. I liked it. He definitely slid. Okay. Respect. And him and J. Cole are going on tour.
I saw that.
And him and J. Cole have a song. It's one of those 6 songs, and it's very good too.
Okay. So that's a second song because there's a first song they have on the first one called First Hand Shooter or Second Hand. They have a song on All the Dogs. So this is another song?
I don't think it's the same song.
Okay, so it's 2 songs.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't think so. And also Nicki Minaj is coming to Milwaukee. Did I tell you that yesterday?
I'd be interested in seeing her live.
I want to see her.
Okay.
So.
I like Nicki.
Me too. Her music, I get chills. When I hear her rap, I get chills. I just
one thing that she is blessed with is that gift of gab.
Always.
That girl can rap.
She can rap. And it's, even when she was doing the Barbie shit, it was still cold. All the,
But she just took it to that pop level with the starships are made.
But that's the thing. Even that
stuff was good.
That's why I mess her music. That's one thing about Nicki Minaj that I admire. Most people when they go pop, so my favorite, people like Chris Brown, some of my other favorite people when they go pop, the music changes. Even Beyonce, the music changes. Sound different.
Of course.
Nicki Minaj
got to be more appealing to a wider.
Her music and her rap didn't change. She had all her fans doing the same crazy faces, making the same sounds.
I mean, I think there's a lot of people who have a lot of opinions about her, but
they
one
can't
thing
say nothing about
you can't say she's not talented. Nicki Minaj is extremely talented, and I'd like to see her live. To be honest, like I've heard the live show is crazy.
Yeah, to be honest though, like that's why I don't speak much about her, because the reality of it is, you know, she's been occupying a space for the past 15 years, literally. One space.
Yeah.
She been occupying it by herself. You know what I'm saying? There hasn't been no up until recently. And I mean, honestly, competition, I don't even know if that's the right word.
It's just different. It's just different. Yeah, I feel you. So I definitely want to see.
She get my respect. Yeah. I would love to see.
I definitely want to see.
Who you want to see?
Nicki Minaj live.
Oh. Yeah, okay, we can make that happen.
I've heard that her shows are always like a really amazing thing, and she has a great band and everything.
I don't know if I want to see her in Milwaukee though. The tickets might be cheaper.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else you really liked?
Did I tell you something else?
Let's look at the notes. We're so professional. We have notes. Oh, nope, that was it. Okay, well, let's move on to the next segment.
This is gonna be a deep one, y'all.
Yeah. So let me say this, and you know what? Next week we're gonna do a Nike cam because he looks so cute and so he's just chilling.
What camera we gonna use? My camera?
I have an external camera we can use, an external webcam. We're gonna do a Nike cam.
Put that wise up.
Yeah, we do. We will. Okay. So you guys, this week, I think the last 2 weeks have been a little rough in terms of like what has been going on in the media, and it's been causing me to have a lot of thoughts and a lot of I've been reflecting because of what's going on. And because of that reflection, we are going to have an episode with a social worker, someone who works with victims of domestic violence, because for me, what's really important on this podcast is to not just talk about these things, but to be about them and to figure out how we as a community, and when I say community, I mean us as a human community, how can we contribute to just the well-being and preventative measures for victims, but also caring for survivors, right? Those who are in our community who have survived. And the one thing that I always say about like social media in general is like when you post things, we've said this 1,000 times on this podcast, whether people react or engage or not, they're looking. And so while Keke Palmer may not hear what you have to say about domestic abuse, or Cassie may not hear what you have to say about domestic abuse, someone on your timeline is going to see it. And I just want to be a better community member and find out how maybe we as a community are complicit in allowing people to go through these things, right? And so we are going to have a social worker and somebody who works with domestic abuse survivors and those who are in the midst of it. And we're going to have that conversation. I think it's going to be good and educational, but also I want to have the conversation so that those who are struggling with this can get help if they need it. But this week, you know, Chelsea and I had a pretty extensive private conversation about this because we wanted to make sure that we were being sensitive, and we wanted to make sure that we were being realistic. We wanted to make sure that we were, as usual, talking about things in a way that's respectful, but also getting to the nuance and elevating the conversation, because that's what we do. And so for those who haven't heard or don't know, earlier this week, Cassie, a model and singer and music artist who hasn't been in the music industry for quite some time. She was the longtime girlfriend of Diddy for around And when we say Diddy, we're talking about Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Bad Boy Records, you know.
What's his new name? Brotherly Love?
Brother Love. They were together for 10 years in a romantic relationship. And it was kind of like public knowledge that he was in a relationship with her, but also somewhat in a relationship with the mother of his 4 children, Kim Porter, who, rest in peace, Kim Porter, she has now passed away. A bombshell lawsuit was dropped in the state of New York earlier this week, charging Diddy with all types of rape, SA, human trafficking, not extortion, but making her do certain things on camera so that he would have it as leverage and collateral against her. I didn't read the whole deposition, but the deposition itself has a trigger warning. The court documents have a trigger warning because of the level of crazy things that this woman is alleging happened to her in the 10 years. She has since moved on. She's married and has 2 children. And the lawsuit was for an undisclosed amount, but of course the blogs ran with the number 30 million. Why? Who knows? But last night in the wee hours of the night, a statement was made from Diddy. A statement was also made from Cassie. And the statement was, we have amicably decided to settle this lawsuit outside of court for the privacy of our family and so on and so forth. And Diddy's statement said something like he wishes Cassie and her family the best. And her statement says something about thanking her lawyer and her family and her friends and her supporters. And
he did that shit.
Okay.
Let's start there.
It's not funny. It's not funny.
No, it's not funny, but there's a whole bunch of people who they might not be on here right now, but are on my timeline who done been talking all that BS about Diddy was about to do this and Diddy was about to do
he's about to buy NBC?
Diddy, while I love him as a business person, I love him I love him.
I love
Both
him.
me and Joy feel the same way about him.
I literally love him.
I have always, even when I used to watch him on Making the Band, I've always felt a predatory nature. I've always gotten that.
It's hard for me.
I've always gotten that. And like so much so that like me as a singer, I said to myself, like I would never try to audition for Making the Band or anything like that because like the way that these things have happened, you know, bit by bit, year by year, I've always gotten.
It makes me sad because I never got that. Like I just always thought he was like, I just always viewed it as he's relentless in the pursuit of the things that he wants. And maybe, I mean, it hurts. I'm going to just say that. It hurts. But I don't want y'all to think I'm over here being a grape sympathizer. That's not what I'm just saying 2 things can exist at the same time, which is we can believe Cassie, but also mourn somebody that we looked up to. We're now looking at them in a different light, period. This happened with Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, every celebrity in our community that people look up to and love. It's when news like this happens, it's hard to adjust to and deal with.
That didn't happen for me with R. Kelly though.
R. Kelly, I didn't.
Yeah, I was disgusted from the beginning.
No, you're right. Because the rumors for him have been going on for 20 years. I mean, the rumors with him, people are just now starting to kind of talk about Diddy and things that have happened. But honestly, like it just like if Diddy was to watch this, which I know he never will, right? But like if Diddy was to watch this, I would just want him to know that like
disappointed in you, sir.
I'm just disappointed. I have loved him for a very long time in my life. I used to, when I was 12 and 13 years old, I used to look at what Diddy was wearing and try to recreate that with the clothes I had in my closet because I thought he was so cool. Yeah. So for me, it's just this. I would want him to know I'm just disappointed. And you know what's maybe I'm delusional, but I still believe people like him can be redeemed. I know that that's a lot, and we talked to Amani about that in the text messages. I still believe he can be redeemed. But let me move the conversation forward. What I want to discuss is the comment sections were rife with why would you stay for 10 years, right? Same when the situation happened with Keke Palmer. It was like, why would you stay? Why would you stay? Why would you stay? Why would you stay? Why would you get pregnant by him? This is your fault. All of these different things. And in our private conversations about this, Chelsea had to keep it real with me and get me to get to.
That's why my face looking like
I
this,
know.
y'all. Cause
you in our private conversations, you said to me like, let's be real here. And as the kids say, be so fucking for real.
Yeah.
Okay. Y'all, I am a survivor of narcissistic abuse, mental and emotional abuse. It was not physical. And so while I understand why someone would stay, while I understand what goes into it, I have sympathy and empathy for victims of domestic violence. Most of the people that I see on the internet do not. And I asked Chelsea last night, I said, why do people ask this? Like, why? I want to educate people on why people stay. And you had some choice words to say. So I'm going to let you speak your piece.
Yeah. So I am, I'm a survivor. That's a interesting word.
It is. A thriver. What's
thriver.
that organization? Yeah.
Yeah, of a domestic violence situation. And I feel, number one is my opinion is that, I do not expect anyone who has never been in a domestic violence situation to understand a domestic violence situation, period. And I know a lot of people, a lot of women specifically, who may have experienced domestic violence, they can resonate with that because the minute that somebody in your family or somebody that you love or somebody that you're close to finds out what you're going through, you pretty much are being shamed for it because you're deciding to, deal with this deal. But people have to understand that no one situation is the same. And I think, what I said to Joy was basically, for me, I ignore those comments when I see them. And I'm very, very, very empathetic with women and men who are going through or have been through domestic violence situations, because I know I know exactly what happens when they get to those points. And typically, the person, your abuser, doesn't show you that side of them. And in the worst cases, the worst scenarios, you're being love bombed in a way that the person who becomes your abuser is a completely, totally different person than the person you fell in love with. And, a lot of times what happens in those, months or years of you building a relationship with that person, being with them every day, talking to them every day, falling in love with them, maybe getting pregnant by them, creating a family with them, building a business with them. You're intertwining all of these different things, aspects, your souls are tying, all these things are happening, and then boom, your life is shifted.
Because the perception is that they meet you and punch you in the mouth, but that's not what happens.
No.
They take you on amazing experiences. You have great dates. You enjoy each other's company. You're falling in love in this romantic, blissful, amazing thing. They're everything you thought, they're showing themselves to be everything you want in a relationship. And then one day, 6 months,
a year, maybe even years later.
They punch you in your mouth. And now you have to figure it out. Somebody in the comments said, this is a complex topic. I'm afraid of amateurish opinions about domestic violence. And that's exactly
what I said.
And that's exactly what we're saying, which is people will have opinions about it not ever having experienced what it's like to go through it, and it's easy for you to
on the outside looking in.
Yes,
it's easy to say, well, I would never do this. If it were me, I've had people tell me, you know, if I'm with a man and he slaps me, I'm leaving. And it's like, I had to tell somebody, I was like, no, you're not. You want to know why you're not going to just leave? Because 10 times out of 10, that first moment when you're slapped, it's not. Because let's be clear. If you meet somebody and within 2 days of y'all talking, he calling you out your name, he slapped there's no tie there. Of course. Of course. I've had people, men and women, who I didn't like the way they spoke to me. I didn't like the vibe. It was over.
Yes.
Of course. But people have to realize, and I like that comment that was stated, I'm guessing that's on Twitch, that it is a very complex situation. And this is why, you know, I guess for me, if I want to elevate the conversation, I feel that if the blogs and if the news reporter people and different things, if they actually had the proper training in journalism, when they're releasing this information, these statements, they will be doing so with a little bit more consideration and care.
Come on.
Because it's not a topic that every single type of intellect can actually engage in meaningful conversation around.
There are very smart, intellectual people who are eloquent, who are, you know, amazing people who don't understand domestic violence because they've never been through it. And it's interesting because I asked you last night, I said, you know, aren't we as humans like just empathetic to other humans? And unfortunately, this is one of those topics where unless you've actually gone through it, you may not be.
It's like, you know, it's like a movie. I said this to you last night.
Yes.
When we watch a movie and something happens in a movie, it's easy to say, well, if I went through that, I would do it like this, I would do it like that. One thing life taught me, and anybody who's close to me can attest to this, I am very much a put myself in the other person's shoes type of person.
Me too.
Very much so. And even more than that, for me, when somebody makes a decision, I don't know what actually yielded or that decision.
Yeah.
So for me, like, I'm, you know, a lot of people say they're non-judgmental, but for me, that's really how I live my life.
You live that. You do.
It's like, you just never know. You never know. Like, even when we talk about these celebrities now, I'm not talking about any type of abuse. But when people get wrapped up in, you know, white collar crimes, or people get wrapped up in fraud, or like cheating situations, or multiple spots, things of that nature. Like, the thing about it is, you never really know why somebody is doing what they're doing. You never know the actual story. You never know what actually went on. And I'm even more empathetic to celebrities because their light
they're
is
doing it in a fishbowl.
Yes. Their life is in a limelight where everybody's watching everything that's going on. So to take it back to the Cassie and Diddy situation, you know, for me, as soon as I saw it, my sentiment has been and has always been with any time they say anything about Diddy, he did that shit. He did it. I believe personally that, you know, I think that sometimes the most artistic and creative people, the most intellectually in-depth and in-tune people, I feel like sometimes it's very easy for that genius to become evil genius, if not grounded and rooted in the proper things. And you got to realize this man has lived his life in the entertainment industry since he was a kid. I mean, 19, 20?
He's been uptown. Yeah, he's been around. He's been in the music industry for, his whole life.
And let's be clear, we've talked about this as well. The music industry, entertainment industry, is predatory.
And that's what I wanna zero in on too. Like, the exploitation that happens behind closed doors in the music industry itself makes it a breeding ground for these kinds of situations.
Absolutely.
We have to remember that the Diddy and Cassie situation isn't just a man and a woman who was together in a relationship. There was business tied to, music industry business tied to what was going on. And I had that conversation with Monty yesterday. I'm like, yeah, her suing for money makes sense to me because there's money that she was not able to make due to some of these things that happened. Having said that,
And not to cut you off, but a lot of the other situations are the same. R. Kelly and his wife, she was his dancer. Aaliyah, R. Kelly. You know what I'm saying? Like it's typically intertwined. It's because it's people you work with.
Exactly. It's intertwined that way. So I said all that to say, like I was telling somebody, like when you're in the music industry, like you almost expect a certain level of exploitation, and the only way to like not be involved in that is to just like be independent. And I feel like, you know, again, it's hard because I've looked up to Diddy for such a long time. But what I will say is I started to realize through seeing all of the, you know, as our commenter puts it, amateurish opinions. When I started to see people's opinions on this, it kind of gave me a revelation of like, two things. Okay, so it gave me a revelation of two things. The first thing is that everybody is complicit. And I hate to say everybody because I'm not a like throw a blanket on everybody like general type of person. But when you look at super powerful people who are able to abuse or hurt people for extended periods of time, it's never that there's just them doing it. There are staff members who are complicit. There are security guards who are complicit, family members who are complicit. Like, and this is why, again, I wanted to have somebody on the show to talk about it. And it's like, a lot of the situations of domestic violence that I've heard about on like just like a normal person level, there's always some story about like, oh yeah, he was beating me in front of my family. And my family was just like, well, what did you say to him to make him upset? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or situations where
I'll say, I don't want to cut you off, but I'll say that typically it's not where in real life situations, because it's one thing, like, you know, if you're just bred, if your abuser is bred from a family of abusers. But normally, like if you were to do a poll, most women, you know, will tell you, even men, you know, will tell you that what ends up happening is somebody walks in on something happening, or someone, you know, months later, years later, gets wind of something. And, you know, like I said to you last night, like with my situation, I think what happens for a lot of people is they don't take it seriously because the woman or the man may not be crying out for help. Or they, you know, I even had somebody say to me like, well, why, if you want to get out of it so bad, like, why are you still here? Leave. You know?
Yeah.
But the reality of it is, you know, when you intertwine fear, like real life fear.
Yes, fear for your life.
Fear for your life, or even just fear, like let's say if you have children, fear for your children, you know, fear of shaking the table of your life. Because my thing is, if your life is intertwined with someone and if you leave it would mean you would have to start completely over.
Or maybe be homeless or whatever.
You know, thankfully, like for me, I was still a kid. So I had my parents. I could go back to my parents' house. But I could imagine at 30, you know, it's what I'm saying? Vibe. It's different. You know, having to rip yourself from what you know and start completely over from scratch. That's hard to do. So fear, you mix fear and love, because love is, I mean,
it's a hell of a drug.
Yeah. So you mix those two things and, you know, you get a recipe of toiling back and forth with yourself and your mind. And unfortunately, a lot of people wait until it's too late.
Yes.
You know, and that's
then somebody dies and
or you have to make a tough decision. And I don't want to get into too much detail because it can be very triggering. Like even for me, like sometimes when I talk about some of the things that I went through, you know, it's still a very like it's a sensitive spot.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think that the general, I don't expect general population to understand something so sensitive that they never been through or that they never had experience with.
It's the not being able to put, they have the privilege of never having gone through it.
The blessing.
Or so they don't know how to deal with it. But, you know.
In that you shouldn't be, to me, I don't give opinions on such sensitive topics that I've never experienced myself.
Same.
That's how I am.
Yeah, it's easier to just be quiet. It to me, like when I see people dealing with stuff that I've never had to deal with, I just don't speak on it because my opinion is never ever going to actually be like, it's never going to feel, it's never going to be considerate enough because I don't know what it's like.
Right.
You know, the second thing that I kind of came to was like, oh, like our country is a little bit of a kind of like abusive power structure, and people are sometimes viewing abuse as like, okay, this is just what has to happen.
Right.
Well, because I mean, the reason why we're all here today is because a group of people was subjugated and enslaved in order to build this country.
Okay. Yeah, that's what we was talking about.
We're that's why we're here, right?
Facts.
I think somebody did like the math on if the slaves were to have been paid for the amount of work that they did over those 100 some odd years, it would have been
There we go.
in the trillions or something like that of money.
Say that again.
Like if we actually add up the labor that was done by enslaved people.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Billions and trillions of dollars of labor was done, right? So I guess the point,
Think about, what you're saying is facts though, because if you fast forward into like post-slavery, then you have prisons.
correct, and that's labor, correct, right?
And prison, that's what
exactly what it is. Their work, right? So what I'm trying to say is that I think that because of the way our country is set up and the power structures and our systemic issues, people are actually, as soon as we're born into this world, we are conditioned to accept and tolerate abuse. If it's not from our family, it's from our jobs. If it's not from job, it's from school. If it's not from school, it's like we're literally taught as we get older and older and older, like, hey, this is what it is to live in this society, and there's nothing you can do to change it. I was having a conversation with you last night about when we have kids, if they don't want to hug or if they don't want to be touched, they're allowed to say that. And I feel like people don't understand the connection between you making your child hug an adult or do what the adult wants. It's setting them up for, first of all, you're leaving them vulnerable to adults, all adults.
Right.
Because what you're teaching them is,
if an adult says
do it, you have to do it. So that's number one. We're setting our kids up to, I have to listen to adults. So no matter what they say, no matter how bad it is, I'm going to do it. That's number one. Secondly, as we grow older, we start to, I don't have to have boundaries. So if another kid is hitting me or punching me, I don't have to stop them from doing it because I'm basically being taught in my household, no, you don't have autonomy over your body.
Yeah. And now all kids are different.
All
right?
kids are different. Yeah, of course.
All kids are different. I want to say that. But I do honestly believe that this is something I think that is more culturally for us. Because we have many times where you hear stories about different, black kids, a lot of us who growing up, there was, certain aunts and uncles we maybe didn't like to go over their house, or certain people who just didn't make us feel welcome, and saying something about it and it being like, no, that's not what's going on, or that's not what's happening. You know what I'm saying? Or just small things like that. I do think that the millennial parents, there's a lot of generational curses that are being broken by millennial parents. I do believe that.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think a lot of it is very genuine. I think that a lot of us there's many things that we realize as adults that we went through that have us having a different outlook on how we want to, parent the children we bring into the world. And I think it's even more so important now because the things that we will have to worry about as parents for our kids coming up, our parents didn't have to worry about for us. And that's a fact too. Like, there's so much.
Like with the internet and all that. Yeah, it's a different time. But what I will say is, I want to stop and acknowledge and say to all of the millennial parents out there who are breaking generational curses and who are doing their best to treat their children. Y'all, let me just stop and say there's construction that's been going on. There's construction that's been going on in our apartment building for the past, God, it feels like forever. And they just be going in. So sorry, y'all. But anyway, shout out to all the parents out there who are breaking generational curses, because I know that it's hard because everything in you wants to do the other thing or be more, because we all turn into our parents. Right. And yeah, I get it. So shout out to the millennial parents and the Gen Z parents who are out there breaking generational curses. But what I realize about this is we live in a country and a society where abuse is normalized.
Right.
And I feel like anyone that I meet that's especially over a certain age, no shade. Mm-hmm. Even the best of people, even the people with the best hearts, people who you like, who have great personalities, sometimes what they bring to the table is you're I'm listening to them talk. I'm like, oh, you really, society was different when you were growing up. Right. So you have a different idea about just life in general. But there are so many ways in which we are basically convincing our children that abuse is cool. Adult says you do it, says you do something, do it. Your boss says you do something, do it. And this is what be having people get caught up in illegal schemes and things like that. How many times have you heard a fraud story where there's somebody in the fraud case who was I just was doing what my boss told me to do, and everybody's you should have known. It's but I was told that I have to listen to authority. Mm-hmm. I was taught that in my household you don't go against what's being told to you, right? Mm-hmm. And so you take that and you couple it with power, you couple it with fear. This is somebody who's vulnerable to abuse. And yes, everyone is different. Not everybody's going to react the same way to certain things. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I can understand if you tell me basically a gun was put to my head and said, if you don't do this, I'm going to kill you and all your family. And I thought I was just doing what was going to save me and save my family. Yeah, we can be sympathetic to that.
But the thing about it, what's crazy is I know you were meaning a hypothetical gun, but people, were you? Or are you saying a real gun?
I was saying a real gun, but I get what you're saying. I get exactly where you're going.
A lot of
sometimes that is what's happening.
When you think about when you pair up fear, life-changing circumstances, children, all of that into one can feel like a gun is being pointed at your throat.
Come on.
So and
I think people also discount how anxiety, and this is what narcissists do, putting you in a situation of being uncomfortable and putting you in a situation where you're stressed out or there's anxiety or you're not getting sleep. These things contribute to why you do why people do what they do in these situations. Right. So for me, I'm looking at myself as a community member, again, a member of the human community, and I'm thinking, what can I do better? So that's why we're going to have somebody on the show to talk about it. Because I feel like
I would be interested to know, I would be interested that in that person actually being a survivor as well.
She is. So she's a survivor who turned, you know, started.
And that I can mess with that.
It's not, because you're right. It's like, no, but most of the people I know who start those businesses are you know, survivors.
But there are, again, just like it's people
you're right. You're right.
So as long as that's what's going on, I'm down with it, because I think that there is a level of, and that may actually be a healing conversation. It's probably gonna end up being a healing conversation for me too, you know. But I think that it's important for those who actually want to learn how to be empathetic to something that they've never been through, because I do think there are good people out in the world like you who are just empathetic people.
Yes.
And I do think that, you know, yes, I don't I have a different outlook just on humanity than you do, but at the same time,
I still have hope and faith.
I think that there is a way to, just across the board, like when people go through stuff, especially celebrities, like, you know, first realizing that celebrities are just people with a limelight on them. They're people, they're human. You know, money, anybody who's ever had a little bit of money, more money than they had before, you should know that money ain't really changing nothing. You know what I'm saying? Anybody.
It only augments the problems and the things that are already there.
Anybody who, you ain't got to be rich to know that getting more money doesn't make your problems go away. Getting more money doesn't make you, you know, look at things differently. Getting more money doesn't change your intellect. All it does is magnifies who you are.
That's right. And gives you more resources to do whatever it is you are doing.
Exactly. Yep. So people need to realize, like, just because somebody has money, just because somebody is famous, just because somebody is what we believe to be, you know, the American dream or stable or whatever the case may be, doesn't mean that they don't go through human emotions and human interactions and human feelings and make human decisions. Like, they're still human people.
You know what's crazy?
And I'm not talking about the abusers. I'm talking about the people who going through the shit. That's what I'm talking about.
Of course. But of course. Andre 3000 had his interview with GQ for his album, and he was basically asked, like, what is it like to, like, be famous? Mm-hmm. And he basically said it's trash. Like, he was like, I'm thankful for it. He was like, I don't want anybody to ever think that I'm not thankful for it. He's like, well, the coolest part about it is that I'm able to share my creativity and my gift with people. Mm-hmm. But the rest of this is for the birds. And I understand it. And I think sometimes, and to be honest, for me, what has kept me, I think, from executing on the high level that I am executing at right now is maybe fear of fame. What is that quote? You know, our fear isn't that we're inadequate. It's that we're I forgot what the fear. Here it is. It's from Coach Carter. Such a good movie. Mm-hmm. So the quote is, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Let me tell y'all, I just got goosebumps reading that. You know, for me, I'm not trying to say, I'm not trying to big myself up, right? But I'm saying that I do think that right there keeps people from reaching this height. And also, I'm not going to lie to you, knowing of all the exploitation and abuse and disgusting things that happen behind closed doors at those high levels makes me really, like, reluctant sometimes to be like, God, is this a world I want to enter? But I try to keep people like, I don't know, Tabitha Brown in my eye view, and Kev on Stage, and even other more famous, Denzel Washington, like people who just stay out the way, so to speak. I try to keep them in my mind and say that, like, there is a way. Well, let me pose the question to you. Do you think that there is a way for you to live holistically, mind, body, spirit, in a healthy and a way and with integrity and with morals, and be famous and be rich? Is it possible?
Absolutely.
So I've always thought it's possible.
It is possible.
There's a whole group of people who will say it's not.
Well, but there's a whole handful of people who do that. But the thing about it is, they just not always in the limelight. It don't look the way. Like, the world, because of the internet, my opinion, the world thrives off of toxicity, drama, trauma. It thrives off of that. So the people who we know everything about are the ones who's always in the media for some BS. You know what I'm saying? But there's a whole handful of people who are, you know, honestly, up until Keke Palmer got with this Darius Dalton nigga, we didn't hear nothing. Even when there was rumors about her being gay, like nobody cared.
Right. And she is bisexual.
Yeah.
She's come out and said that now. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like nobody cares. So it's like there's a whole handful of famous people who they make their money. They do what they got to do. They don't thrive off of, you know, likes, clicks, views. You know who's a good example of this? Pharrell. Missy Elliott is a good example as well.
Pharrell.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Missy Elliott. I mean, you have to be able to,
and they're like super famous. But even at the lower level, you know, you have examples of people who they just get their money, they do what they gotta do. You know who's a good example of this? What's his name? Tyreek from Power. I think that, you know, he's TikTok, you know, whatever, but he's a kid. But we don't be hearing about Woody McClain. Like there's a whole handful of people, like Luke James. Like there's a whole handful
there's
of
a way.
like,
So there's a way.
Yeah, there's a way. There's definitely a way.
Just for you to stay out the way.
Yeah.
Get your money and live your life in a beautiful way with your family. And I think that, you know, dare I say, part of what breeds abuse is the attitude of wanting more.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not saying for everyone, right? But if I look at a lot of, like, you know, what has happened, it's like, you know, we all have that friend that's like, we just, you know, have the best time. But for them, in the back of their mind, it was substandard because there's a higher level.
Yeah.
And I think what people think is, oh, once I get to this level of life or this level of experience, I am no longer going to want anymore. But what they need to understand is that wanting just creates wanting at every level. So even once you're having the top tier best experience, you're then saying, oh, how can we make it better? Right. And a lot of times, how can we make it better translates into, oh, well, we just have to like fuck this person over. We have to do this. We have to do this. Like, you get what I'm saying? I'm not talking about like the want for self-growth and to be a better person. Right. I'm literally talking about like, you just made $50 million, but for you, that wasn't enough. You need to figure out how to make 100 million. Like, a lot of times, and capitalism itself is steeped in exploitation. Capitalism works because there are people beneath you who make less money than you, right? And power is a hell of a drug.
Yep.
And the more of it that someone gets, and the more, I think it's almost like, you know, a little kid, like if they steal one cookie and nobody finds out, they just keep stealing cookies until the cookie jar is empty and their mom is like, where'd all the cookies go? And the kid's like, I don't know. And it's like they get caught. And now they're crying. They're crying because they got caught. They're not crying because they stole
bad,
the,
right?
they feel bad. They're
Right.
crying because they got caught.
Right.
But the reason they kept stealing the cookies is because they realized at a certain point, like, oh, this is like super easy for me. And I think that once someone has a certain access to money, resources, power, influence, they do something really shitty one time and get away with it. Then they do it 2 times and get away with it. Then they do it 20 times and get away with it.
And then by then, it only take you to do something 5 but 6 times for it to be a habit.
Exactly. And now after 21 times, it's a habit. And now you don't know who you are. The people around you hate you. You're getting sued. There's all type of stuff going on. And you can't undo what you did.
But you want to know something, honey? That's the same thing with abuse. With abusers. And I'm talking about the kinds that look like regular people. I'm not talking about predatory
rich people.
Yeah, no. I'm talking about abusers. You know, your everyday working class citizen who behind closed doors is a different person. you know, what happens is they do it once, they feel the power from it, they get away with it, no repercussions, nothing happens. So what happens? They do it again. And they keep doing it, and they keep doing it until it becomes who they are. Especially,
and now this is who you are.
Yeah, and especially when, you know, they get what they want out of the situation. You know, whether it be money or resources or, you know, just being able to control someone, and having them afraid of you and feel fearful of you. You know, that's what it is. It starts from, you know, doing something, getting away with it, and continuing to do it until it becomes a part of your identity.